Divas, welcome back. I am so excited for this week's Reporter Roundtable with my two pals, your two pals, Forrest Saunders, EW Scripps Capitol reporter, and Jason Delgado, Spectrum News Capitol reporter. And we talk about the governor's race, the legislative session, redistricting.
Fish sticks.
Yeah, lots. And so much more. Join me this week for Reporter Roundtable.
What we're seeing right now this week has really put a real focus on how turbulent this next legislative session is going to be. These are rumblings right now. These are little bumps. We're not in severe turbulence yet, but I think it suggests that we're going to have a bumpy ride this next session.
You're listening to Deeper Dive with Dara, a podcast by the News Service of Florida. Let's dive in.
Somebody told me once that I looked like Michael Bublé. If only I could sing like him, I don't think I'd do this
Who's
job.
Michael Bublé?
How do you not know the boob?
You must know Michael Bublé. You must.
How do you not know?
Is it like John Tesh?
No, it's not like John Tesh. He's a crooner of the modern era.
Oh, okay.
He
so
came
like
in and-
today's Frank Sinatra?
Yes, he kind of took the...
Especially during the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's like Harry Connick Jr.
Yes,
thing.
yeah.
Okay, because I know Harry Connick Jr. I don't know Michael Bublé.
Bublé was a better singer, but a worse actor.
Oh, and they act too.
Bublé doesn't act well. Harry Connick Jr. doesn't either, but...
When you're that pretty. I mean, it's a pretty boy.
Okay, speaking of pretty boys, oh my gosh, welcome back, Divas. What a great segue. I have to say, I really congratulate myself on that one. You're welcome, me. We are back in the Speakeasy with my boys, Forrest Saunders, EW Scripps Capitol reporter.
For now.
And...
Sinclair's been sniffing around us, and I don't know what's going to happen there.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
We can talk about it another time.
We'll talk about it another
This could
time.
be our
And
final broadcast together.
Jason Delgado, Spectrum News,
Hey there, y'all.
Capitol reporter. No caveat.
No, things look... I'd rather be in my shoes than Mr. Saunders.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys have got that big cable thing backing you up, don't you? Internet,
helps.
whatever it is.
Don't cut
Well,
cable,
let's
folks.
talk. We can talk about the state of journalism later on in the show. But right now, let's get into and welcome back. First, happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving.
Same.
I'm always a little bit ambivalent about, should we say happy Thanksgiving? I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't really say that. I don't know what holidays people celebrate.
Sure.
And sometimes when you say happy this or that or the other, some people don't feel the same way about it. So
I always hope that if I do something like that, people will understand that it's good-natured, regardless of...
yeah.
I'm trying to bring it to you from a good place. And sometimes it's like a shotgun reaction. I just say it.
Well, look, you can only hope.
So I was I had Jimmy Petronas on recently, and I asked him if he had any advice for people for the holidays, and like not culinary advice or anything, just had any advice for people for the holidays. And he said, fry a turkey.
Yep.
Like that was his and then he went on about the turkey. And I was getting my nails done over the weekend, and I was sitting next to a lady talking to her tech, and she the tech asked her if she made a turkey. She said, no, we had a fried turkey that somebody, they have somebody who makes a fried turkey for them every year, and, they pay them to do it.
It's funny you say that. So I travel for Thanksgiving, right?
Okay.
With my parents. Every year, I'm like, Dad, how about next year? Let's try to fry the turkey.
Ugh.
He's like, where the heck are you going to fly that turkey? Not my house.
Where do your parents live?
Orlando.
Okay, so it's not like in, Chicago where they've never heard of
No. I'm not crossing an ocean to get there. But...
Right.
Now, it's interesting that he would suggest that, considering when he was CFO, he was also fire marshal. And I distinctly remember Jimmy coming out and being like, listen, buddy, you got to be careful with them turkeys. If you drop it in there too fast and it's too frozen.
Okay, so he did that, and he's on my podcast saying he does the fried turkey thing. And then, like, 3 days later after it, and I'm not saying my podcast had anything to do with it. I'm just saying then Blaze comes out and does the whole like fried turkey on the Capitol thing, which I didn't go to. Did either of you go to that?
No, I did not. I've seen it enough.
Okay.
I will say that's got to be one of my favorite safety demonstrations.
Yeah.
Only behind the 4th of July safety demonstration.
Oh, gosh.
You've seen the videos, right?
No, I haven't.
Well, the Christmas
have
tree
to-
burn is good too, though.
You'll have to send them to me in the group text. All right. Well, let's get into what's going on this week. Last week, we were recognizing the 25th anniversary of the Florida recount. Also, before we get started, I did say a special, farewell to Bill Cotterell at the beginning of the last episode, and I just wondered, just real quickly, if you guys had any interactions with him or any thoughts about him or knew him at all.
I knew him only by reputation.
I see.
He was a legend before I was here. But I will say that, in the field of journalism, we are losing too many, and we are not gaining our strength back on the back end. So it is unfortunate to lose such a talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had the privilege of meeting him, though I heard stories from a lot of folks that spoke very highly of him and his work. I did read a couple of his columns, though, and the guy... provocative writer.
Very provocative.
I
In fact,
enjoyed his writing.
He was working for News Service when he passed away, and he was writing columns for us, and I actually edited some of his columns in addition to working alongside him as he covered the Capitol for many, many years. And it's really kind of a beautiful thing that the Senate president is going to have a special recognition of him and hang a plaque for him in his honor in the press gallery in the Senate next week. And Bill's widow, Cindy, will be there, and his daughter-in-law, which I think is just kind of an amazing, really a magnificent tribute. So thank you to Senate President Albritton and his staff for doing that. So. All right, so let's moving along to the week in news. The week in news. And we're not doing we'll do it. We'll do the week in haikus.
Oh,
but
God.
I thought you were introducing.
No, stop. All right, let's talk about the governor's race, right? Because that's kind of heating up. You recently had Jay Collins is showing, I'm not going to say it because I almost said it, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's not right. I can't say it." But he's giving a wink and a nudge, a lot of winking and a lot of nudging. Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, will he or won't he? You had a sit down with him. I think we may have talked about it during one of our recent ones, but. Tell me what's going on. What's the latest with Jay Collins?
So, I mean, officially, when you get him on record, what he's going to tell you is that he has made up his mind and he's very close to making an announcement. We just don't know when that's going to be. But I think he's all but screaming, "I'm going to run for governor." I mean, that's the vibe that I get when I talk to him. And if you just listen to his rhetoric during these either press conferences or when he's talking with a member of the media, he's got his talking points down. He's hitting his lines, and it feels like a campaign ready to go. And then you have some reporting. I think Peter Schwartz with Florida Politics recently highlighted that Jay Collins 2026, the domain was purchased online.
Really?
Yes, and I went and clicked on it, and right now there's just an animated pig butt that shows up because it's like the name of the domain, just like pig bun or something like that.
Right.
But anyway, it's adorable. So obviously that's going to change at some point. But yeah, I mean, I think they're getting ready for a fight. The question that we all have, is whether or not Governor DeSantis is going to then turn around and endorse him.
See, this is what, and I really, because I read recently, and forgive me, I'm not trying to snub the reporter who reported on this, but I heard that he said, he told someone, like, they were asking, when is DeSantis going to come out and endorse you? And he was talking about the calculation of the DeSantis endorsement. Like, oh, it might come, like, would it be better to come when we announce, or would it be better to come closer to the election? Am I making that up, or did I see that?
There was a Floridian article.
The Floridian article, which my understanding of it was that he was asked, the governor that is, do you plan on endorsing Jay? Or how involved do you plan on being on the race? And on both those questions, Governor DeSantis was pretty bashful. Let's say,
coy.
I think it was like a coy might be the better word.
Coy.
I think it was a we'll see, or we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Which is obviously not a full throat endorsement for anyone, at least for now.
Which brings us to, which makes it all the stranger, So does that leave the lane open for Casey DeSantis to run? Does it, how much focus grouping and running around the state and doing press conferences are they going to do with the lieutenant governor before they decide he's ready for prime time or that he's got enough support? One of the things I've heard is that he might be having a little bit of a hard time raising funds. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I want to say that Matt Dixon, the talented and wonderful Matt Dixon, did a story about that.
Yeah. I think I was the last podcast appearance Matt gave before he left Tallahassee, but I might have been the last, public appearance or whatever.
Unless someone got to him at the airport. I think that's a safe bet.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I've seen the commercials in Orlando for Jay Collins while I was down there. And it's funny because they're almost like...
Wait, commercials for Jay Collins?
And they're like commercials that don't go anywhere. It's like... Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins.
It's a commercial that doesn't have a point.
It doesn't have a point. It's like, it's
wait, they're advertising?
100%.
And
I've seen it.
And what does the disclaimer say?
Well, you know what? That's a great question, and we can go back and double check that.
But I mean, it essentially is their attempt to get name recognition. Right. That's what they're trying to do, is build this foundational name recognition, because I think a lot of the research shows you have a path to potentially supplant Donald's with his large lead if you have name recognition. And the problem is a lot of these other candidates don't have any name recognition. Donald's is known because he was endorsed by Trump.
Yeah, I guess I should back up. I'm not sure if we even introduced Byron Donalds as part of the race. Congressman Byron Donalds, former state legislator, who also every single press release I get from the Donalds campaign, Trump endorsed Byron Donalds.
Yes.
Trump endorsed Byron Donalds. I mean, they cannot. I do not see anything coming out from that camp without there being a link to the president.
And my understanding is the campaign knows that whenever they make that connection, their numbers go up in the primary.
Is that right?
Yes. Which is why they are screaming it from the rooftops.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he still carries weight, I mean, the president, regardless of his approval rating nationally within the Republican Party, it stayed pretty consistent. It's dipped a bit in some states, but overall, nationally, amongst Republicans, he's still sitting at about 80% support.
I think the reality is if President Donald Trump endorsed me right now for Florida governor, I'd pull.
You'd have a shot.
I'd pull. That's just kind of the way it goes.
Right.
I'm not saying I'd win.
Well, especially in a primary, because who shows up in the primaries?
Dedicated voter base.
It's the red hot MAGA voters, and in a state this large, you really, really, really need the funds to compete, because we have how many media markets? Yeah. It's very expensive. It's expensive to travel around the state. It's expensive to get your message out to voters on air. And I have said it, and I just don't know. I'm very curious to know what you guys think. And we've talked about it. We'll keep talking about it until the primary really is, can a candidate defeat a Trump-backed candidate in a primary election in a statewide race? Because remember, Trump did back some folks who lost in legislative races and back in 2024. But do you think that can happen next year?
I think it can happen because anything can happen in politics. And I think that it's really going to come down to how toxic is the Trump name and brand when we get to August.
That's right.
Yeah. But it's going to be a feat. And if it's going to happen, it could happen in this election cycle right here in Florida.
Who knows what? I mean, it feels like every day the ground seems to feel like it's shifting in politics, particularly in Washington. Oh. Who'd have thought if we had been sitting here 6 months ago that Marjorie
Taylor Greene
would be,
my goodness,
who'd have thought it? Would you have? I wouldn't have.
Who would have thought that, George Santos was going to get out of prison and start taking pictures inside the Justice Department.
He's a Florida resident now, yeah?
I think he is.
Oh, of course, because of course. But who'd have thought that Laura Loomer would be covering the defense?
Matt Gaetz.
And Matt Gaetz, yeah. Okay, but we have another candidate in the governor's race.
Oh, yes. Yeah, a new one. A fresh face.
And he's all over Twitter.
And his name is
James Fishback.
They're calling him Fish Sticks. And I every time I see a tweet, I see Fish Sticks, and I'm like, and Jason's trying not to laugh. He's looking away from me.
That just conjures up a South Park joke.
Oh, I don't know what the joke is. Is it?
I don't dare say it on podcast, do I?
I'll leave that to you.
Say it.
Okay, well, there's a whole...
We'll just use the explicit thing.
Anybody who's a millennial or less than will know this joke. Phil Willett, your colleague, will know it because he doesn't act like the Gen Xer that he is. Maybe he's a boomer. I don't know.
He's a boomer.
Yeah,
he's certainly a boomer.
He's pretty ancient. But there was a whole episode about it was Kanye West, right, who did not get the joke, like that they were making fun of him, and so they were saying that Kanye West eats fish sticks. But if you say it fast enough, it doesn't sound like sticks.
Got it.
And so because Kanye didn't get the joke, he was like, I don't eat fish sticks. And that was this ongoing thing.
I'm just sitting here shocked that you brought that up.
I don't know why I
think
did
it's hilarious. And just remind me to hit the E explicit
It just
button.
made me feel like so old explaining a joke like that.
Yeah,
that's what made me feel.
It's not as funny when you have to explain it.
I think I have rheumatoid arthritis now.
Oh, God.
Well, I was just thinking, I didn't realize they were calling him fish sticks.
Oh, you didn't? Until I just said it?
Until just very much
Oh, my gosh. No, go on Twitter.
I'll have to check it out.
Okay.
I'm like, how much further do you take that? And then I remembered, like, is it Gorton's? Is the fish sticks brand?
Right, Gordon. Oh, the guy with the slicker.
Yeah,
the slicker.
Like the yellow boating thing.
Right.
Like, it's only a matter of time before that's...
Oh, my gosh.
Mr.
You can go work on that. You can get AI to do that for you, do all the work for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he's an interesting character.
Who is he? Tell us about him, because I know very little about him.
It's a great
question. We're going to have to get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because, wait, before we expand on him, also, former House Speaker Paul Renner, who has been on the podcast very recently, is also running for governor. So we cannot slight him.
No, and he's been interesting lately because he's had some sort of countering views on a bunch of different things, including property taxes, which I'm sure at some point
he also wants Corey Mills kicked to the curb.
Yes,
which I thought was quite interesting. So let's move on to him in a minute, but let's finish up with fishbacks. Yeah, I almost said fish. Now every time I say fish,
it's going to stick.
Or look at it,
it's going to fish sticks.
Now I understand why. Now I understand why you went there. But go ahead.
Okay, so. He's an interesting character that kind of came out of nowhere, right? I mean, he does have a huge following on social media. I think it's something in the nature of 500,000. Maybe it's only 100 and some thousand followers, but he's used that to generate a lot of publicity for himself. He goes on national talk shows a lot, news programs, Newsmax, Fox. I've seen him on I think I saw him on one of the more mainstream outlets as well. But, he's someone who's made a name for himself being polarizing and being eloquent. He's a great speaker. He's very good at organizing his thoughts, and he's very much towing this sort of MAGA DeSantis rhetoric and line. He is trying to be the heir to the DeSantis tenure, right? He wants to pick up where DeSantis left off. He's talking about affordability. He wants to end the H-1B visa program in the Sunshine State. He's got a lot of these big talking points, which pull very well with Republicans, and that is what he's going hard on. But as for who he is and where he comes from, it's kind of a mystery. I mean, he says he's a fourth generation Floridian, but then he's got some legal woes that have really been blowing up since he announced as well. He has an ongoing lawsuit with his former employer, which was a financial firm, that is claiming that he inflated his position within the company, said that he was head of macro when no such position actually existed in the company. And he has apparently used that, according to the lawsuit, to inflate his own personal efforts with his own financial firm, and apparently take some of their clientele away. And then there are these other things that are in the filings, the back and forth, which is suggesting that he doesn't have a great solid financial footing, right? That he doesn't have money to pay his bills, and that his Tesla was repossessed. I mean, there's a whole bunch of bunch of legal filings.
I know somebody who's selling a used Tesla, by the way, if anybody wants one. It's very low in miles.
So he's a really interesting character. But and then he goes on social media and he'll tout like Polymarket had like a momentary blip where he was at 60% likelihood of beating Donalds in a primary. He'll plaster that everywhere. That has since come back down to a more, I think, sane number. And, his internal polling suggests that he's potentially ahead. He really likes Waffle House. He's an interesting guy. He's 30 years old.
He's young. I mean, that's where I was going to start. He's young. You're informing me because I've been really busy in Potlandia.
Did you grow up with the guy?
No, I've been in Potlandia for the past 2 weeks.
Oh, I read.
No, don't do that to me.
Oh gosh, right?
Oh, goodness.
He's going to pull that on us. And so is there any, because like I've seen on the socials this like, oh, he's the stealth DeSantis, like DeSantis is, he's really the DeSantis candidate. And then the DeSantis people or people who I think of in the DeSantis online world are our social media world are like poo-pooing that, like it's completely not true. I mean, is there a possibility that he's close to DeSantis or I'm
going to conjure your boy's name up one more time. The wonderful Matt Dixon did an interesting story not too long ago talking about how, behind the scenes, Fishback had been in coordination, according to his reporting, with the DeSantis people. But then we kind of, Gary Fineout and myself, Politico reporter Gary Fineout and myself, asked him sort of a series of back and forth questions about whether or not he had been in contact with DeSantis. He says that he has not talked to the governor, but he did sort of acknowledge that he had been in comms contact with some of the people attached to the campaign. But he says, "Oh, I talked to every campaign because I'm a candidate in this race." So.
That's so nebulous.
It is so nebulous.
I think it's just tough to say.
And I'm not sure that's true that all the candidates are talking to the other campaigns. I don't know that, any of like Ryan Smith isn't talking to any of Paul Renner's people, I'm pretty sure. Right.
No, I think Paul Renner's running his own race.
Yeah.
And I do believe that he believes that there's an avenue.
Yeah, there's a lane. Mm-hmm. I believe that he believes that too. I mean, and I think that there could be a lane. We saw some news. We were hitting, we were sort of brushed on this as we were setting up before we started recording, that some news came out this week about Byron Donalds' wife, Erica Donalds, and charter schools. And, I think we know for sure that the Oppo research on all these campaigns is going bananas, and it is going to be a mud fest from here until whoever the last man standing. don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's already started.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, that CBS article about Erica Donald's congressman's wife, and whether or not, she was being truthful and honest in her solicitation of collecting money for these private schools. And I haven't gone too deeply down that tunnel, but what I can tell you is everybody was telling me, don't think that it's over and done with Congressman Donalds, because there's stuff out there. Everybody's been telling me, oh, it's
too early.
Yeah, he's got skeletons. You just wait.
You wait until it gets closer to the actual election.
And I've seen a lot's been made of their relationship, to whatever degree they have a relationship, between Congressman Donalds and then Congressman Mills.
Oh, that's right.
That connection as well. Yeah.
I guess maybe we should explain why Congressman Mills, we know our divas are very sophisticated and they don't need us to tell them about Corey Mills, but just for the hell of it, let's go ahead and do that.
I'm going to defer to you on that because you've actually followed that case.
That's right.
Yeah, look, I think he's on his 7th, 8th life.
You were down there. Weren't you down there?
At the trial, correct.
At the trial, yeah.
With his...
Tell us about that.
Which ended up with his girlfriend getting a court to file an injunction, or to okay an injunction against the congressman over what she considered to be violent threats. Also, he was
like a restraining order,
essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And there were text messages in which he was seemingly threatening to release perhaps nude videos, or photos. Of his ex-girlfriend. So, that's just kind of one half of the equation. There's questions apparently about his military service, what he did or did not do while over there.
Stolen valor. You are a vet, so,
I am.
And thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And what else? What else is there? Oh, money issues as well, apparently. It just seems like there's so much smoke and fire surrounding Congressman Mills at the moment. And so, when you see pictures of the two of them seemingly in Las Vegas together.
I did see that. I saw that on Twitter. Or X, I'm sorry. But yeah, I saw that. And they were like, both of them were kind of bleary-eyed and they had all these glasses in front. Is that the one that I'm talking?
Looked like a good time.
It looked like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
And then what's interesting about that is, because it just reminded me of the trial, there was a point where Corey Mills' ex-girlfriend talked about part of the reason why she was fearful of the congressman was because she had heard stories of Byron and then Corey Mills out in Vegas, and how there was a physical altercation out there and the two got into it with some dude somewhere. And so obviously there's no way for me to substantiate that. It was just a claim she made on the stand.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, it's kind of like that relationship is, I'm sure it's not one Congressman Donalds wants to parade at this point in time.
Is he distancing himself from Corey Mills, or is he just like, there's nothing to see here?
I don't know if he's addressed it.
I see.
I think largely the campaign has just ignored these attacks, and they're keeping their head down and moving forward. They haven't addressed really Renner. They haven't addressed Fishback. They're just the statement that we keep getting is
Trump endorsed Donald.
I'm the Trump endorsed candidate, and that's that.
Yeah, it is kind of wild. And we'll be right back with Jason Delgado and Forrest Saunders. 160 miles per hour or more. That's the strength of today's hurricanes. Winds that turn debris into deadly weapons. Storms that intensify overnight. They're hitting harder, faster, closer. Our homes have to keep up. Build for 160 and beyond. Go to beautyofblock.com/impact/southeast to learn more. That's beautyofblock.com/impact/southeast to learn more. Divas, you know what time it is. It's that time. It's time for the news in haikus. The news in haikus.
This felt topical, given the emerging battle that we see before our next legislative session. So,
the news in haikus.
House Speaker, Sen Prez, Governor Ron DeSantis, who will win next year.
The news in haikus, the news in haikus. Don't forget, we'd love to hear your haiku. You can slide them into my DMs, or you can send them to podcasts, that's podcasts with an S, at e.newsserviceflorida.com. Wherever you're listening, please don't forget to subscribe and give us a rating if you like what we're doing. And we're back with Forrest Saunders and Jason Delgado. So what else did we have going on this week? Here's something. I don't know. Are you covering any of the legislation that's going on?
Property taxes, we've been really hard on.
Tell me about property taxes. What's going on? What's the latest in that?
That happened just the other day. We had the second of 3 committees for property taxes, and there was a winnowing of the slate of 8. Now we are down to, it looks like, 4 pieces of potential ballot measures that are going to get to we think, the Florida House floor and be put over to the Senate. So we have seen a reduction in some of the measures that were originally proposed by the committee and advanced by the, property tax committee. I think the ones that are left, this is all non-education, homestead, property taxes, and exemptions in different ways and styles. So one would be a total removal. This is the Kevin Steele policy that would remove homestead, non-education homestead property taxes for Floridians, period, immediately. As soon as it's implemented, gone.
No more.
No phase out, just gone. And that one obviously got a lot of cities and counties and fire officials coming out and saying, please don't do this.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that is embedded in all of these measures is that you have to preserve the amount of funding for your police, your law enforcement, and you cannot deviate. You cannot go lower.
So this is what I wanted to ask you before we move on to the other measures. How do you do that? How do you take whatever X number of dollars off of the rolls? And, do you close all the libraries? Do you shut down all the parks? Do you not clean the streets anymore? I mean, there's a finite amount of money to go around. And if you hold them, and they're the biggest chunk of spending, so I don't understand how, what's the math?
That's a point that the House minority leaders drilled on a lot, is that, well, what does this look like on the backside of things? And she's used this kind of, not a metaphor, but this example of, for perhaps the most disadvantaged communities, if you're not losing the park, then are we charging a kid $5 upon entry? Or how about library services? If they can't self-sustain, now are we filtering people at the door via pricing? And so I think that's, again, we've talked about this before, is I understand the idea of eliminating or reducing property tax. And there's obviously a huge push from top down to get this done.
Obviously.
But with that said, I just think the stakes are so high on if this were to go wrong. And then the ripple effects of, well, what does that do to the housing market? The housing demand and housing supply and young people who can't get into homes now. And
there was a really interesting Realtor.com article that I think flagged here recently that said, home prices will go up. They'll just raise the price of the home because you can pay more for it now. And then the other effect is that, your renters aren't going to pass along any discount. In fact, they may have to go up because these aren't homesteaded
That's
properties.
Right.
So where are they going to reclaim the lost revenue? The non-homesteaded properties.
I think you could commission a multi-year study on what would be the effects of this and still never get to the bottom.
Oh, they tried to do that. Don't you remember?
Right. I do think the idea, there's a lot of what we're doing, what Blaze, the CFO, and Golia is doing with the Doge and other people involved in that Doge effort in the state and in the federal level. there is this is a very conservative, Republican, traditional kind of, what is the purpose of government? What is the function of government? Should government be paying for a recreation center that trains gymnasts? Mm-hmm. Is that something that our tax dollars should be spent on? I guess you could make the same arguments about libraries. Is that something that should be free to residents of a community? Should pools be free or
I can't
at a low
imagine
cost?
like a private library, right? Sponsored by Coca-Cola. And then you go in there and like all of the books are about how great Coca-Cola and Atlanta are.
This public park brought to you by Home Depot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm just throwing it out there,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm saying, like, who gets to decide what's wasteful or what is not a government function? Because if you think it's like education, public safety, those are the traditional. Now we're getting into Congress has been locked in this battle over healthcare and subsidizing healthcare. Is that something that government should be doing or not? I mean, to what extent is this the function of government? Is anybody discussing that as we're discussing doing away with property taxes that go to pay for these services, that supplement people's lives?
Parks and Rec, right? You guys are fans or at least familiar with
Yes.
the show.
Sure.
I just feel like we've entered the wet dream of Ron Swanson, right? Which is just total libertarianism, which is, let me have my money and you, government, just go away.
Okay, then we're going to legalize pot too, right?
Well, that's the question, right? So just to get back onto the slate that remains, I should have
really. You don't want to walk down the lane of what government should pay for with Dara. Okay,
I don't know that I'm enough of an expert to give you all of that, but I will say this: that the caveat is that. Chair Overdorf, who is head of the committee.
And he's coming on the podcast soon.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah. And what he told us when we asked, are these dead? Are they done? He's like, nothing's ever done until the hanky drops. So,
right.
It may be that these pieces of legislation that didn't make the cut in that second committee may surface again. So we might have the phase out. But the other ones that do exist, you've got Rep. Porris's bill, which is the homestead exemptions for non-school taxes, property taxes. That is just for 65 and older. So it would be the same thing as Steele's bill, just for the older generations. He's looking at me.
I'm not 65, but that's okay. Thank you very much. Yeah,
because I care. And the other two would be portability and allowing you to take your.
If you get married, and you join households, you can bring your portability and your
savings,
poodle with you.
and basically,
I was kind of trying to think of
even if your property is of a lesser value, you can still save at that rate. Yeah. And then the other one is basically an incentive, reduces your property taxes, non-education homesteaded property taxes if you have homeowners insurance and you're fully covered.
I can't tell you how brutal it is having to say non-school property tax homestead on a broadcast script.
Yeah.
It's an important annotation, absolutely. Like it needs to be in there.
It is an important
it's
distinction.
not great television.
And then you've got the governor's plan.
Which is?
Go ahead.
We don't have it yet.
We don't have. I love this when it happens. I always say this. I love when my guests, especially when you guys here are so super smart, get to my questions. Answer the questions before I ask them. And I was just like, "What about the governor's plan?" was next on my list.
I saw your setup. Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Toby Overdorf and the governor's plan, did you catch the quote, by the way, from Gary Fine? At least he tweeted it.
To be fair, that was in the gaggle, and I shared that quote with Gary.
Okay.
I did not, but go right ahead.
It's been 300 days since the governor actually said that he wanted to deal with property taxes. We're still waiting on his proposal. It's been 300 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you have it.
There you have it, folks.
So those who say that the governor and Danny Perez, the House Speaker, and the House are all singing Kumbaya, I don't know if anybody's saying that at this point, but there was a minute where that was being spread around. I think we can say ixnay to that, right?
You heard it straight from the point, man. Toby Overdorf.
I had a comms guy who works with Overdorf reach out to me after he had seen that, Overdorf had a gaggle.
Yeah.
And he said, could you send it to me? I was like, yeah, sure. I'll give you a transcript. And the first thing that he highlighted was nearly 300 days, huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knew that was the line.
I think I know who you're talking about. We're working on getting him on here, and I just had a family emergency, so we had to reschedule. So, okay. How about this? UFC specialty plate. Have you been writing about that? Anybody?
That is
Ultimate Fighting Championship. Is that what that is?
Yes.
I feel like you're closer to that world than I am. I'm not saying you're part of it, but I don't even know,
what about
WWE.
UFC? Well, Dana White's always up to something. He runs the UFC, by the way. But I mean, he's the one who's...
Well, they just passed the bill. Some committee signed off on the bill that would make a specialty plate for UFC.
It's fascinating because I don't believe there's...
I thought it was a college.
And I could be wrong.
No.
At first, I thought it was a college. The license plate must be a college.
No.
No.
Oh, no.
I don't believe...
And I think it's Senator Gruters that's backing it.
Well, you know what's interesting is that Dana White, again, the head of UFC, is in talks or planning stages somewhere in that process of hosting a UFC fight at the White House.
I know.
Right? For the 250th?
Right.
So that's interesting.
And
I don't
Joe
think there's another league out
Gruters
there.
is the chair of the RNC.
Mm-hmm. And
Isn't he still a state senator?
And he's
technically?
both.
Yeah.
He's both. Yeah, he's multitasking.
Busy guy.
He's
I don't think,
multitasking.
for context, that there's another league, sporting league, that has their own license plate, say the NFL or NBA or MLB.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I mean, you have specialty plates for teams, though, right?
Right.
You can get a Bucks plate or something like that, but not just for the entire.
What about the one who's the Secretary of Education? Doesn't she have some kind of fighting thing she does?
The U.S. Secretary of Education?
Yes.
I have no idea.
She's the wrestling mania.
She wrestles?
Doesn't she own the wrestling thing?
I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know anything
Maybe
about
I'm wrong.
wrestling.
Well, obviously, I don't either. Okay, they're looking at their watches, which means they're giving me the brush off. One thing I wanted to ask about was Governor DeSantis and the puppies.
Oh, the puppy mill bill.
What did you think about that?
I think that it's going to be tough to get it across the finish line. This is something that lawmakers have been trying to do for years to standardize the industry.
No, but I don't mean getting it over the line.
Why do it?
I mean, is this like an attempt? We've all, for many years now, reporters, the media have talked about the way he interacts with people. He's, it hurt him on the presidential trail.
Yes, it did.
Criticizing the kid for eating ice cream or cotton candy or whatever, and not really seeing a warm and compassionate side to him.
Do you remember that, real quick, the take that off moment?
Yeah.
With the mask?
With the kids?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've thought about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're illustrating what I'm saying. It's my point. And so, when I saw the puppies, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, we're going to do puppies now. Did you get that sense at all?
Yeah, I did. It felt like, let's rebuild the dike.
Right.
And DeSantis has been trying to, I think, do more interact. I mean, on his social media profile. So, listen, I don't know that it's DeSantis there with a phone. I very much doubt that. But his campaign team is trying to present a more friendly and familiar governor. And so his social media profile, especially his political profile, not the like official Governor DeSantis,
Right.
has been interacting with people more, cracking jokes, talking about
He
different.
says a lot of stuff. I mean, he was going on about what was the one I saw today? Oh, he was opining about we're recording this Wednesday morning, and there were election in Tennessee last night, and he was explaining why the candidate only, the Republican scored like +7 or +9 in a Trump +22 district, and so he's definitely.
And there's something about Sundays. I feel like it's on Sundays is where he.
Oh, really?
It's him where he starts to tweet in volume. I will say I've learned more about him, at least insights about him or his thinking, in the last few months on that Twitter account than I think I have his entire administration.
That's interesting.
The interactions that he's posted with his kids on social media, those are new. Those all sort of started happening post 2024 election cycle. And it was almost like immediately he was putting videos of himself up with kids and maybe reacting to the criticism that he got on the campaign trail and trying to present a more friendly metaphor, puppy-faced
I think they just
politician.
Didn't they just adopt 2 more? They have 4 dogs now.
That's a lot of dogs.
I think they have 4 dogs.
Remember the whole Trooper the dog situation? I mean, that's
an interesting
they
story.
squeezed all the juice out of it.
That is an interesting story, and Trooper had a happy ending, right?
Trooper did have a happy ending, but then there was this question of whether or not Trooper had been tied up to the fence post,
if it was true,
or if he had just gotten loose and gotten caught up in the fence. I think there were, I want to say this was a Lawrence Maurer story. I don't know if he was highlighting it for another reporter, but I definitely saw it from the Tampa Bay Times. And it was questioning the police report, which suggested that, this dog got caught up in the fence. It didn't look like it had been tied there. They had talked to the owner. The owner said, I was trying to evacuate during the hurricane, and I was trying to get my mom in a car. The dog got loose.
Right.
I didn't have time to stop and get the
Right.
dog. So, we just left. And I don't believe that resulted in any, it resulted
Penalty.
in charges, but he was never convicted, I don't believe.
Okay. Well, there's the latest on Trooper the dog.
And I'll say this: anytime there's a dog in politics, it's about the politics. But so be it, because it's about the dog too.
CC Pam Bondi.
It's about the dog too. And so, hey, if we can do something about puppy mills.
It's an interesting bill.
They have been trying to get that across the line for a long time, but I think
it's
the
very agreeable.
Not the Petco. There's a pet store I think in Miami that's been really anti killing that bill. I could be wrong.
The American Kennel Club's come out against it as well. They've taken issue with it because they say that a lot of these policies are too broad and they impact.
I'm an adopt, don't shop girl.
I am too.
Anyway, but for what it's worth, nobody cares. Redistricting, anybody? Any takers on redistricting? Yay or nay? Are we going to do it, or are we not?
Covered that yesterday. I think it really hinges on the Senate, and you chatted with the Senate president recently.
Cool. Tell me about that. Tell the divas about that.
Well, folks, I wish I had more news from you out of your Florida Senate. But we remain where we have been, and that the Senate appears as if they are in a wait-and-see position, just like they are on most policy issues. And so that remains that time after time, the Senate is the big question in all of this. Obviously, the House is pushing forward with their committee for the first meeting.
That's right.
That'll be this week. It's the most meaningful step yet. That said, they don't have any maps in hand. They'll meet again in December.
Yeah.
And we do have the governor's timeline now of, hey, I'd like a special session. Perhaps.
I know he's saying he wants a special session, but
spring, perhaps March to May.
Yeah.
Right.
And I loved the statement that we got from the Senate president's office the other day about that.
That was a unique one.
Yeah.
That was perhaps one of the more unique
I have it here.
statements. Forrest, take it away.
Okay. So this came from the wonderful Katie Betta, who is
I love Katie.
She's amazing.
And mind you, the question is, in some way, shape, or form, can you share some insights into the Senate's position on redistricting and given the governor's remarks?
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the question that I asked.
Okay.
Checking to see if Prez wants to weigh in, Prez as in president, not Danny Perez, weigh in on this redistricting special session that DeSantis is eyeing for spring after session. And then she said, here's the statement that we're putting out. Quote, the president stopped by the governor's office briefly late this afternoon to say hello following Thanksgiving. The governor reiterated to the president what he has stated publicly, that the timeline for addressing redistricting should be next spring. We have always assumed that spring means after the regular session.
Interesting.
It is a great way of saying something without saying anything.
Saying that
Basically restating everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that the governor is saying,
Yep.
yeah, we heard what the governor said,
Yep.
and here's what we
think he means.
Right. And oh, by the way, for those of you who are campaigning, spring means after session, and so you can't raise any money. But
I was scratching my head. I was like,
Yeah.
How do I fit this into a story?
How do you?
I just read it. I just was like, and the Senate staff said,
Okay. I don't have anything else on my agenda. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about that you think is big news this week?
I just think that what we're seeing right now this week has really put a real focus on how turbulent this next legislative session is going to be. These are rumblings right now. They're not, to stick with the air metaphor, these are little bumps. We're not in severe turbulence yet, but I think it suggests that we're going to have a bumpy ride this next session because you have two big issues now that are surfacing right before we get into the regular session. One of them being property taxes, the other being redistricting, and two entirely different visions of what that should look like, and the Senate not weighing in on either of them, which means that potentially we have three actors here that are doing their own thing. And that's why I say I think a lot is going to hinge on what Senate President Albritton wants to do here for both of those issues. And, he's got his big agenda before he leaves, which is the rural renaissance
And that bill is already out.
It's out. And
which is so... Is that odd that it's out now?
I don't think so. I think that is strategy. That's him saying...
That was his strategy last year, and how did it work out?
It did not work out.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
No.
But I don't think anyone forecasted the unique set of circumstances that either, the House leadership, Senate leadership, the governor were going to experience in that session.
Yeah.
And I think what makes this upcoming one more fascinating is that all three of these gentlemen have their priorities. None are quite satisfied thus far.
When they're all
on the clock.
This is it.
Yeah.
Right.
Outgoing.
Yeah.
You got one last bite at the apple here.
That's right.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how
It's
far
going to be
they're
a
willing to push
three-way
this.
game
Yes.
of chicken. Three-way game of chicken for the next 60 days. Plus.
I keep hearing the joke in the corridors of the Capitol from lawmakers is sign, die in October.
You don't make those crews.
Imagine.
Make those. No, you can't. You can't. And you know what? With the redistricting, I actually spoke with Mark Early, the supervisor of elections for Leon County, who has been in the elections business for 40 years.
A real professional, folks.
Yes.
Awesome guy.
Yes, he's great. And I'm doing 5 questions with him next week. That'll come out in our new thing, the Midway, next week, which will be it'll be fun to read and interesting. We talked about the petition gathering, and we also talked about redistricting. And he was part of the 2020, 2015, 2016 mid-decade redistricting after the litigation when they had to redraw some of those districts. And he essentially said, he literally said, I don't think any of us want these districts to be redrawn next year. They don't, it's very difficult. They're running against the clock. They would have to do a complete new street level maps. Yeah. And so it's very labor intensive. It's very time consuming.
You got voters who don't know who their candidates
Precincts have to be redrawn, new voter. Anyway, I don't want to give it all away.
Oh, yeah, I had to your point, I had an off-the-record chat with a supervisor in one of my markets, and fascinating chat. We're talking about redistricting, about what a burden that will be upon that office. And then, again, I won't say any names, but he was like, but Jason, this is beyond redistricting. This has been going on for years, where Tallahassee will change the rules.
Yeah.
He's like, no one's ever called my office.
Yes.
And then they'll dump all these new policies on me that'll reshape how my office fundamentally interacts
with
our constituents. And just speaking with this person and others, you could tell there is a sense of frustration, at least privately.
Yes.
From many supervisors about how Tallahassee has done
with
business
the election laws have changed. They change them every year or every 2 years. And a lot of times, what they're doing with the petition initiative process is they're trying to make it more difficult, and they have. But, what Mark was saying to me is, I've been doing this for 40 years. He's been working in the Leon County Supervisor's office for 30 years. And he said, and even I have to, and there's a lot of new people, because a lot of the old ones are like, screw this, I'm done with elections. So there's been turnover in the elections offices. And he said, but even I have to call because is this, is this the new law? Is it the old law? Or is this the new, there's a lot of, it does create confusion. And
God love them. And this is not a commentary on the laws themselves. I'm not weighing in whether they're good or bad.
Yeah.
But the volume and the frequency, I should say, by which they
That's
change.
what I'm saying, yeah.
Because as a supervisor, in theory, no one should really know your name. No one's really talking about you. Until something goes wrong.
True.
And then you're like a household name.
That's right.
That's one of those jobs where I'm like, God, love you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really good place to end it. Let's have a little fun questions for a second.
Okie dokes.
Okay, we're done with pumpkin spice, thank God. Is it peppermint spice? Anybody? Yay or nay on the peppermint?
I'm a big nay on that.
I'm going to pass on the peppermint.
Yeah, get mint out of my chocolate, please.
Same to me. Did I ask you guys what your favorite apps are?
Ooh, no.
What's your favorite app on your phone?
Oh, favorite. I was thinking appetizer, in which case I was going to say mozzarella sticks.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll do that next. Let's do. No.
I got so excited, too. I perked up.
Well, we did Halloween candy. That's why. So, okay, what's your favorite app on your phone? And then we'll do your favorite appetizer.
How's
That's
that
a
diet
great one.
working out
I'm
for you?
adding that. I'm adding that to the list. Favorite appetizer.
You know what? I'll start us off. This is a new one. I'm saying it's my favorite, but it's had my attention recently.
Okay.
It's called Shark Tracker. And so it's all these tagged sea animals. And so I opened it up first, and it looks like the recent activities from a fellow called Wassaw Will. He's a turtle. And we've got live data. In his lifetime, since he's been tagged, he's traveled more than 3,571 miles at an average speed of 0.8 miles per hour.
Wait. These are animals that have been tagged, or critters that have been tagged. Mm-hmm. And then you can follow their progress. It gives you updates on.
Yeah, in fact, I can see.
Oh my God, I love that.
I can see the little fella's map there.
Oh, wow. And then
Holy
look at that.
cow.
It shows you his proximity to mozzarella sticks. That's crazy.
Wassaw Will, if you're ever in the North Florida area, brother.
Oh my God. You get both.
Thank you.
Oh my God, that was great.
They've got turtles, sharks, and more.
All right, I'm writing that one down. Shark Tracker. I'm going to put that one on my phone.
So I'm going to use data. I'm going to give you my screen. I'm going to share my screen time.
An intimate look into the life of.
This is terrifying. In fact, I challenge you to do the same.
Oh goodness.
Okay. So first of all, I'm going to give you my my daily average of screen time on my cell phone. Are you ready for this?
Oh my gosh!
I don't know that it's that bad.
No,
it's bad.
It's so scary when I look at mine. Yeah.
My daily average is 7 hours and 23 minutes.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's
a
lot.
shift. It's a shift. My overall for the week is 29 hours and 34 minutes.
Well, you must really cut back on the weekends.
I do.
Then.
I just shut down on the weekends.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's not bad, because I have way more than that on my weekly average.
My total productivity and finance review is 2 hours and 44 minutes. Entertainment, 1 hour and 51 minutes. My social, 14 hours and 47 minutes.
So what's your favorite social? You're not on Insta, are you on Insta?
I have a sleeper account on Insta, but
okay.
I use X.
You use X a lot.
And 6 hours and 32 minutes.
But that's not necessarily posting. You're
I'm
lurking.
scrolling it. I'm reading. Sometimes I post.
Yeah.
But
you're not a postaholic
no,
on
I'm not
there.
a postaholic.
Yeah.
No.
You hardly ever post.
Rarely.
Yeah.
Rarely. I average on the week daily 5 hours and 34 minutes on my phone.
That's good.
Oh my gosh.
My most used app apparently is Twitter at 2 hours and 53 minutes. So that can't be right. Is it? Is that how I'm spending my life?
Dude, 6 hours.
Have mercy.
I'm 5:37.
Okay, I spend the least. I feel better about my...
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
But you know what? You want to know part of why? Because I won't say it's my favorite app. Certainly the one I use the most. My Dexcom app for my continuous glucose monitor.
Whoa.
Which I am constantly checking to monitor my diabetes. So I feel like I get kind of a little out with that.
I think you do, and I think we should ask perhaps what's your second most used or
You can
favorite
ask,
app. May I?
but how about if we go to appetizers?
No, let's do that. Let's keep moving on.
I would just like to say my favorite app is food related. I actually enjoy using the Traeger grill app, which allows me to control my grill when I make food.
Oh, wow.
Love it. Absolutely
And what kind
love
of grill do you have? I'm looking for a new grill.
I have a smoker, which I have named.
Oh,
this
no,
is the
that's
name
way
of
too
my
much work
grill.
for me. I'm not going to say it out loud.
I'll say it out loud. It is BLAISE, Blaze.
Blaze.
Oh, my goodness.
I thought it was funny.
Oh, man.
I texted him when I did that.
God, you're going to get a lot of these. Okay. Favorite appetizer. What is your favorite appetizer?
I had mozzarella sticks last night. I do love a nacho plate.
Ooh, yeah.
Calamari's great.
Yeah.
Poppers. I'm
Oh,
a
boy, some
poppers. I
jalapeno
really.
poppers?
You know who makes the best poppers in town? It's the pizza place, Midtown Pies, the one on like 5th or 6th or whatever.
Yeah, right there in Midtown.
Yeah. They make the bacon wrapped pop.
Those are the
Ooh,
only
I'm
way
gonna
to do
try
it.
Fresh jalapenos, bacon wrapped with the cream cheese. I like those. I gave it away. I love bacon. Ooh. Everything's better with bacon.
It truly is.
Great.
I would say in town, if I was going to pick a specific one appetizer that I love the Gorgonzola chips at Table 23.
Oh.
If you haven't had those, get those. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
But if I was just going to pick a general appetizer that you can get at most Florida or a lot of seafood restaurants, crab claws. I love
I do
crab
too.
claws.
I do too. Or crab cakes.
Yes.
All right.
I'm going to let you focus on a little secret real quick.
Ooh.
Around the I love appetizers.
I got that. When he got it. You should have seen the look in his eyes when I said favorite app.
And I've dragged Forrest with me. You take yourself down to Harry's on a Tuesday
Oh.
for high tide.
Oh,
brother.
yeah.
$10 apps, and you just run up a tab.
Really?
$10
All right.
apps.
Well, I'm in. Next time you guys go, you
do
need
it.
to drop me in the group chat. And speaking of the group chat, I still have not been invited.
I created our own group chat.
We have our group
It
chat.
is the Dara side.
Oh my gosh.
And I put a stormtrooper on there.
I don't think I got invited to that.
You are on it.
It's just our three?
Yeah, it's just
of
our
us?
three.
Okay. Well,
very intimate.
it is very intimate, and I'm very honored to be in the chat with these two fine gentlemen, Forrest Saunders, E.W. Scripps,
For now.
and Jason Delgado, Spectrum News.
It's been good working with you, Forrest.
Yes, thanks, bud.
My gosh.
Thanks for listening to Deeper Dive with Dara, a podcast by the News Service of Florida, hosted by News Service senior writer Dara Cam and produced by me, Mike Exline. Music for the podcast was recorded by Periodic Labs, LLC.